In the yesterday class, we have discussed about the shear stress developed in a horizontal direction of a beam. So that is the equation is tau is equal to F into A into Y bar by Ixx into B. So where F is the shear force, where F is the shear force applied on the beam, where F is the shear force applied on the beam, and the area is nothing but we need to draw a line, EF line, above the neutral axis, and we need to find the area above the EF line. We need to find out the area above the EF line. And Y bar is the centroid for the shaded area from the neutral axis. Centroid for the shaded area from the neutral axis. This is the Y bar. This is the neutral axis. From the neutral axis, we need to take the Y bar. Next, Ixx is the moment of inertia of the whole cross section. This is Ixx. For the whole cross section, we need to calculate the Ixx. Next, B is the width of the beam. B is the width of the beam. B is the width of the beam. So here in the problem, he is telling that, please read the problem once. A wooden beam whose width is 100 mm and depth is 250. So this is D and this is B. And whose length of the beam is 3 meters long. Whose length of the beam is 3 meters long, and a uniformly distributed load is applied on the beam. And uniformly distributed load is applied on the beam for entire length. Determine the maximum shear stress and draw the stress distribution curve along the depth. Draw the stress distribution curve along the depth. So I need to vary the depth and I need to find out the stresses values. That is shear stresses values. So here he had given the B value, he had given the D value, and the length of the beam is 3 meters. So I am converting in MMs because all the values are in MMs only. All the values are in MMs only. Therefore, 10 to the power of 3 MMs is the length of the beam. And a UDL, here I am considering a simply supported beam. Here I am considering a simply supported beam, and a UDL is applied entire length. So I need to draw the shear force diagram. I need to draw the shear force diagram. The shear force looks like this. So the maximum shear force attained in this is WL by 2. The maximum shear force. The maximum shear force attained in this beam is WL by 2. So I have converted this W in Newton per mm. Initially, he had given as kilonewton per meter. Therefore, it is converted into Newton per mm. And the maximum shear force is equal to 40 into the length of the beam is in terms of mm only. Therefore, 40 into length of the beam by 2 gives the shear force applied on the beam. Now I need to find out the area. That is, I need to shift the EF line. I need to shift the EF line from top to the bottom, from the top to the bottom. So this is the EF line, amma. This is the EF line which is at a height of y, which is at a height of y from the neutral axis. From the neutral axis. So here I am considering the y distance. I am considering the y distance as 125 because the neutral axis lies at the center of the depth. Therefore, the center is 250 by 2. So it is nothing but 125 on the both sides. 125 on the both sides. So this is the neutral axis. So from the neutral axis, I am considering at a distance of 10. The EF line is at a distance of 10. That means what is the area? The shaded area I need here. Therefore, the width will not be changed. The width will not be changed. Therefore, 100, and the depth of the shaded area will be, 125 minus 10. Therefore, that is the area of the shaded. Therefore, I am calculating it is 100 into 115. Next, in my equation, I need the B. B is nothing but width of the beam, so it is nothing but 100 mm. Next, I need to calculate the y bar of that shaded area. So I need the centroid of the shaded area. So here, the height of the shaded area is 125 minus 10 is nothing but 115. So that is the 115 value. This is the 115 value. So 115 divided by 2 gives the centroid, local centroid of that shaded area. Local centroid of that shaded area. Now I need from the neutral axis this distance. I need this distance from the neutral axis. So I need 115 divided by 2. This side 115 divided by 2 plus y. So it is nothing but 115 divided by 2 plus y is nothing but, here y is 10. Therefore, I will get the y bar value in mm's. Now I have found the shear force, I have found the area, I have found the y bar, and the B is also known value. Now I need to find out the Ixx. So to find the Ixx, that is moment of inertia for a rectangular cross section, the formula is BD cube by 12. BD cube by 12. BD cube by 12. So where B is the 100 and D is the 250 value here. Therefore, 100 into 250 cube by 12 gives the Ixx value in units of mm to the power of 4. Mm to the power of 4. Now substituting all the values in the shear stress equation. Substituting all the values in the shear stress equation. So I will get the shear stress at the height of 10 mm from the neutral axis. Now I need the shear stress at the topmost layer. That is this layer. So that is the y value is nothing but, the y value is 125. The y value is 125, and the area here will be, there is no area, shaded area, because it lies at the same line. There will not be any area. The area will be 0 and a y bar will be 0. Therefore, substituting in my shear stress equation, so I will get 0 into something gives a shear stress as a 0 at the topmost layer. Next, I need the shear stress at the neutral layer. I need the shear stress at the neutral layer. That is a neutral axis. That is nothing but y is equal to 0. Y is equal to 0. Therefore, the shaded area up to here I need to consider. The shaded area up to here I need to consider. Therefore, the area will be 100 into the depth now is 125. The depth is 125. Next, I need to find out the y bar for the shaded area. I need to find out the y bar for the shaded area. So it is nothing but 125 divided by 2. 125 divided by 2 is the y bar value, and B will not be changing here. B will be 100 only. Therefore, substituting, shear force will not change and moment of inertia will not be changing for each and every depth. Therefore, we will get the shear stress values while the y is varying. I need to vary the y amount. I need to vary the y, and I need to draw the shear stress distribution along the y varying. Therefore, I will get the shear stress at the neutral axis is 3.6, which is a maximum value, and it will be decreasing. It will be decreasing while the y is increasing. While the y is increasing, at last y is equal to 125. Y is equal to 125. The shear stress is equal to 0. At y is equal to 0, we will get the maximum shear stress. Using these points, draw the shear stress distribution. Using these points, draw the shear stress distribution. So it will be symmetric about the neutral axis. It will be symmetric about the neutral axis. So this is the first problem. Next, second problem. So I am considering here is an I section which is symmetrical about the neutral axis. Which is symmetrical about the neutral axis. So here an I section is shown in the diagram, and the flanges, these two are the two flanges for the I section. This is the flange and this is the another flange. So this flange will be called as a top flange, and this is called as a bottom flange. So here flanges whose 150 into 20 dimension. So this is 150 and depth is 20. And next, in between the flanges we'll have a web. In between the flanges we'll have a web. He had given directly the shear force value. He had given the value of shear force. That is, it may be S. Some textbooks it will represent as S. Some textbooks it will represent as F. So he had given the value of shear force. So here I need to find out the moment of inertia, that is a centroid. Centroid and a moment of inertia for the I section. So it's symmetrical about the y-axis and x-axis. So it will be at the center only, that is 340 divided by 2 from the top, and 340 divided by 2. So I will get a distance of this, the centroid, and I need to find out the moment of inertia for this centroid, that is A global centroid will call as neutral axis now. Neutral axis, I need to find out the moment of inertia. Now, I need to consider a line, EF line. I need to consider an EF line, and I need to make a shaded area above the EF line. I need to make a shaded area above the EF line, and I need to find out the Y bar, and I need to substitute the values in my shear stress equation, and after that I need to draw this stress distribution curve along the depth. So here Ix is known and S is known, and A, Y and B will be varying along the depth. The area will be varying and Y bar will be varying and B will be varying. So here I am considering the top flange only, Amma. I am considering only a top flange whose width is 150, and the depth is 20 mm. Now the EF line lies on the top of the top flange. So here we can see top of the top flange. Therefore, there will not be any shear stresses because the area is zero. The area is zero. Therefore, there will not be any shear stress at that location. Now, the EF line is shifted to the bottom of the top flange. Therefore, the shaded area, I need to find out the area. So here the area is 150 into 20 is the area. So I have written here 150 into 20 is the area. Now I need to find out the centroid, local centroid for the shaded area. I need to find out the local centroid for this shaded area. So it is at a distance of 10 mm from the top. 10 mm from the top, but I need from the neutral axis, this distance, that is nothing but a Y bar. So I know this distance as 340 divided by 2. So that is nothing but from the neutral axis to the topmost layer. From the neutral axis to the topmost layer is 340 divided by 2. Therefore, I will get a 160 is the Y bar. So it is nothing but 170 minus 10. 170 minus 10. 170 minus 10. 170 minus 10 gives the 160 value of Y bar. So this is the Y bar. And the width here, width of the flange here is 150 mm. Therefore, a B is 150 mm. The B value is 150 mm, and Ixx value will be same, and a shear force will be same. Therefore, substituting in my equations, the shear force, area, and Y bar, and this is Ixx, and this is B. So I can find the shear stress at the bottom of the top flange. I can find the shear stress at the bottom of the top flange. So while varying this, I need to draw the shear stress distribution in the flange separately. Next, I need to move the EF line. I need to move the EF line towards the neutral axis. So here, now I am considering the web. Now I am considering the web. The width of the web is 10. This is EF line, Amma. Initially the EF line is here only. That is the top of the web. Top of the web. Top of the web. The shaded area will be this only. The shaded area is only this. The shaded area is only this. Therefore, we will getting a B will be varying. The B will be varying in my equation, that is 10, and the A is nothing but the shaded area is 150 into 20. That is only the area of the top flange. The shaded area will be area of the top flange. Next, the Y bar will be again a previous Y bar, that is 160. The only change here will be the width. Initially we have taken the width as 150 for the flange. For the web, the width will be 10. The width will be 10. For the flange, the width will be 10. Next, I need to shift the EF line to the neutral axis. I need to shift the line of EF towards the neutral axis. Now I need to get the shaded area. Now the shaded area will be a T cross section. Now the shaded area will be a T cross section. I need to find out the area of the T cross section. I need to find the area of the T cross section, and I need to find out the Y bar of this shaded T cross section. Shaded T cross section. So to this, the area, this is the A1 and this is the A2 again. So two areas will be there. So A1 is 150 into 20. That is the top flange. That is the top flange. And the area, that is the web. Here is the shaded area. Web is nothing but the distance here is 150. The distance of the web here is 150 into the width of the web is 10. Therefore, the area is 150 into 10 is the area A2. This is the A1 and this is the A2. So by adding these two areas, I will get the net area. By adding these two areas, I will get the total area. Total area is equal to A1 plus A2. I will get the A1 plus A2 area, that is the shaded area above the EF line. Now the EF line is at the neutral layer or neutral axis. Above the neutral axis, I need to consider the shaded area. Therefore, I need to find out the Y bar for this composite section. That is, now it is a T cross section. Now it is a T cross section. So the width of the top flange is 150 and it is 20. And the depth of the web is only 150. The depth of the web is 150 and the width is 10. Now I need to find out the centroid of this composite section. I need to find out the centroid for this composite section. So individually I need to find out the centroid by using the formulas. Y bar is equal to A1 Y1 by A2 Y2 by A1 plus A2. So it is nothing but A1 Y1 plus A2 Y2 divided by A1 plus A2, that is the y bar equation for this T cross section. For this T cross section. So I am using the formula 150 into 20 is the A1, and the distance from the neutral axis, I need to consider this distance only, amma. This distance is 160. This distance is 160. Next, I am considering the web whose area A2 is 150 into 10, 150 into 10, and the centroid, local centroid for the web is 150 by 2, it is nothing but 75. Now by A1 plus A2, so I will get the y bar for the T cross section. I will get the shaded T cross section area and centroid, that is the y bar. Next, substituting the values of area and as well as y bar and ixx and b. I will get the shear stress at the top of the web as well as shear stress at the neutral axis. Now it is symmetrical about the x-axis. Therefore, the stress values will be similar while I am moving from the bottom of the bottom web. So I need to move from the bottom of the bottom web. So now the line EF is here. There will not be any shaded area under this line. Therefore, the area is 0. Therefore, the area is 0. The area is 0. And I need the y bar. It is also 0. And I need to shift the EF line. I need to shift the EF line above the top of the bottom flange. Top of the above the bottom flange. Now the shaded area will be like this. Therefore, the area is 150 into 20, 150 into 20, and the width. Now I am considering the flange. The width of the flange is 150. The width of the flange is 150. B is 150, and now I need to find out the y bar from the neutral axis. So I can find it by considering the y bar, that is from the bottom it is 10 distance. The local centroid is a 10 distance from the bottom. Therefore, I can get the y bar as 160 mm. 160 mm. Therefore, the y bar will be 160 mm, and I can substitute in my equations to find the shear stresses of the bottom flange. Now, for the web, again it will be same amount. For the web, the B only will be varying. So the B for the web is again 10, and the area will be same. The shaded area will be same. Therefore, I will get the shear stress at the bottom of the web. Next, at the neutral axis, I have already found. Therefore, using these values, I need to draw the shear stress distribution. Along the depth. So here, initially it is a 0. It is incremented at the bottom of the top flange. So this is the value of the shear stress. Next, if I consider the web, top of the web, I will get this value. I will get this value. Next, at the neutral axis, I will get this value. Since it is symmetrical about the neutral axis, I will get a symmetrical diagram from the bottom. I will get a symmetrical diagram from the bottom. Therefore, using that values, I need to draw the shear stress distribution along the depth. So this is a symmetrical cross section. If I consider the unsymmetrical cross section, how to do it? So next problem is a T cross section. And the shear force is given value. The shear force applied on the beam is a given value, and the T section dimensions is given values. So initially I need to find out the centroid, that is a global centroid. I need to find out the global centroid, that is nothing but a y bar from the bottom. This is the center. So I am using the same formula. It is nothing but y bar is equal to a1 y1 plus a2 y2 divided by a1 plus a2. Since we have only two cross sections, where a1 is 200 into 50 and a2 is 200 into again 50. And the y bar is here, that is y1 is 200 by 2 is 100 mm, and y2 from the bottom. So it is a 50 by 2. It is 50 by 2. It is nothing but 25. So from the bottom it is 225. 200 plus 25. So I am getting 225 is the y2 value. So substituting the values, I will get the y bar from the bottom. That is a global centroid, that is nothing but the neutral axis position. After finding from the bottom, I need to find out the distance from the top layer also. So therefore the total distance is 250. The total distance is 250 minus this value from the bottom. Use the length from the topmost layer. The neutral layer is existing at a distance of 87.5 mm from the topmost layer. Now after finding the centroid, I need to find out the moment of inertia about the IXX. Therefore, the formula is BD cube by 12 for the first cross section and BD cube by 12 for the second cross section, and plus a parallel axis theorem is to be applied here. Therefore, A1 into y bar minus y1 whole square plus A2 into y bar minus y2 whole square. So y1 is nothing but 75 and y2 is 225. Y bar we have calculated Y bar we have calculated, and A1 we have calculated, and A2 we have calculated, and B of the first cross section is 50. B of the first cross section is 50, and depth of the first cross section is 200. 2 by 12. So this is the value. And now for the second cross section, the B value is 200 and the D value is 50. Whole cube by 12. So using these values, I need to find out the IXX for the global centroid. Global centroid. Next, after finding the IXX, I need to shift the EF line along the depth of the cross section. Therefore, initially from the top, I'm moving from the top. So I am considering the EF line above the top flange, that is top of the top flange. Therefore, the width here is 200. The width of the flange is 200, and the area above the EF line. The area above the EF line is 0. The area above the EF line is 0, and the Y bar will be 0. The shear stress, while considering the shear stress, therefore the area is 0. Therefore, shear stress will be 0 at the top layer of the top flange. Now, I need to consider the layer EF. At the bottom of the top flange. Now, this is the total area. Shaded area we need to consider. Therefore, the width will be same. 200 only. And the area, shaded area is 200 into 50. 200 into 50 is the shaded area now. And I need the Y bar from the neutral axis. Therefore, we know the local centroid of the shaded area is 25 because the depth is 50. Therefore, the local centroid is 25 from the top. It is from the top. We know the distance. From the top layer to the neutral axis. Is 87.55. Therefore, subtracting 87.5 minus 25, we will get the distance of the Y bar from the neutral axis. This distance I need to find out. Therefore, 87.5 minus 25 gives our value as Y bar as 62.5 mm. 62.5 mm. Therefore, I know now the F value, A value, and Y bar value, IXX value, as well as a B value. I can substitute all the values in my equation and I can find the shear stress at the bottom of the top flange. Now, I need to consider the EF line. At the top of the web, top of the web. This is web, top of the web. Therefore, the shaded area is again the same shaded area, the same shaded area. And now the width will be, we are considering only web, we are considering only web. Therefore, the width will be 50 mm. The width will be 50 mm. And the area is, the shaded area is 200 into 50 is the shaded area above the EF line. Above the EF line. And the Y bar will be 62.5. The Y bar will be 62.5. Now I need to shift the EF line. Now I need to shift the EF line to the neutral axis. Now the shaded area is, this is the shaded area now, this is the shaded area now. Now I need the area, total area, shaded area. Therefore, here we'll get a total area is A1 plus A2, where A1 is 200 into 50 is the A1, and A2, I need this depth, remaining depth. So I know this value as 87.5, and this value, that is the flange depth, is 50. Therefore, the remaining value is, 87 minus 5. 87.5 minus 50. That means 37.5 is the remaining value here. This is the depth of the web remaining here. Into the width of the web is 50. Width of the web is 50. Therefore, area, the total area, the shaded area is 200 into 50 plus 37.5 into 50. Now I need the centroid for this shaded area. I need the centroid for this shaded area. So here I need to consider only a T cross section, that is the shaded area, from the neutral axis. Therefore, this value is a Y1 and this will be a Y2. Now it is a 25 distance from the top. Therefore, the total distance is 87.5 minus 25 gives the Y1 value, and a Y2 value will be 37.5 divided by 2. 37.5 divided by 2 is the Y2 value. Therefore, substituting in my equation, Y bar is equal to A1 Y1 plus A2 Y2 divided by A1 plus A2. Use the Y bar value. Use the Y bar value. Therefore, finding the Y bar value and substituting in my equation, I can find the stress at the neutral layer. I can find the stress at the neutral layer. Now, I need to move from the bottom. The YEF line need to be moved from the bottom, mama. So now, from the bottom I need to consider, so the area above this EF line, that is below this EF line, is 0 and Y bar will be 0. Therefore, the shear stress at this point will be 0. The shear stress at this point will be 0. The shear stress at this point will be 0. Next, Next, I need to move for the neutral axis. I need to move for the neutral axis. It is already known value. We have found the value. We have found the value. We have found the value. The same value need to be applied here. Therefore, using this values, I need to draw the stress distribution curve. So initially it is a 0 and it will be increased, and suddenly it will be vertically increased, and at the neutral axis, up to the neutral axis, it will be increasing, and at the bottom it is 0 again, and I need to join this. So I will get a stress distribution curve like this. So these are the typical problems in this chapter. So with this, the problems is concluded, Amma, and we need to derive some equations for the rectangular cross section, for a triangular cross section, the shear stress distribution curve, and the average shear stress, the relationship between the shear stress maximum and average shear stress for a triangle and for a circular cross sections. So three cross sections are remaining. Three standard cross sections are remaining, and we need to derive a relationship between the maximum shear stress to the average shear stress between these cross sections. So with that, the chapter will be closed. So with this, we conclude this section.